With Mike Lukas, who is running for re-election for the Board of Education. Thank you for giving us your time this evening, Mike.
Thank you very much, and thank you for doing this.
We're going to jump right in. First question, what do you think the three biggest issues are facing the Board of Education and Charles County Public Schools?
The three things I think that are critical are the overcrowding, renovation of our current facilities, and teacher hiring and retention. Our growth over the past decade has been steady. The past few years have been flat, but if you look particularly at our elementary school population, 2/3 of our elementary schools are overcrowded, and the amount of kids at the elementary level has been increasing over the past 3 to 5 years steadily. And that's not unexpected given all the people that have moved into the county, and the homes that were being bought were smaller homes, people that didn't have any kids when they moved here and now starting to have kids. So there's no way to get around the fact that that segment of the population is increasing. And we need to be very sensitive to that, because we don't want to get caught up like we did 10 years ago, where we had this huge surge and we were completely unprepared, and we went through several redistrictings, and there was a lot of pushback, and rightfully so, from the people in the county. So I think it's our obligation to get ahead of that, and we need to do that by seeking funding so that we can forward fund a new school, because again, the data is very clear. There's thousands of homes in the queue that are ready to be built as soon as the real estate market has started to recover, but as it continues to recover, those homes are going to come online. And so we need to address that and be very proactive in doing that. Second thing is our facilities. We have a lot of older schools in our system, many of them 35, 40 years old. They are maintained in the best possible way, and the staff there are absolutely exemplary. But those schools are more expensive to operate, many of them. And we're in the midst right now of a study that's identifying renovations that need to happen at schools and facilities all across the school system. That report is soon to be released, and there's going to be a hefty price tag with that. But a lot of the schools and a lot of facilities, if they were built today, they wouldn't be up to the standards of a 21st century school. So again, for people that are vested here in the county, that have lived here, that have paid their taxes here, and for people that are moving here and paying excise tax for new schools, we have to make sure that we're giving them the type of educational facilities that, quite frankly, they deserve, and that's befitting of the school system that we have here in Charles County. The third thing is teacher retention and teacher hiring, really. There are fewer and fewer people going into the field of education, and it's a very competitive market. Last year, our staff reviewed roughly 1,400 applicants, and about half of those received interviews, and about a quarter of those ultimately accepted offers from Charles County Public Schools. And we do everything possible to give the teachers here a structured environment, a safe environment, not just for them but for the students, and give them resources to help them. Obviously, for the new teachers, we want to have mentors for them, and we do that. But we really need to have a focused effort on increasing their salary, because we are not competitive with neighboring counties. And if people are looking in this area, and if you're a person that's looking for a job for the first time, if that limiting factor is salary, then that's something that we need to address.
Thank you very much. What in your background and current activities have helped prepare you for this position, and what sets you apart from the field?
I've been in the county for over 20 years, and I've been a volunteer in many civic organizations. I feel a pulse of what goes on in the county. I know a lot of people. I have a kid that's gone through through every grade level in the school system. He's going to be a junior next year, so I know what it's like as a parent to have a kid in the system, and how to respond to those things that every parent has to deal with their son or daughter. And my wife is also a teacher. She taught in the system for a while. Now she's a teacher at the College of Southern Maryland, so that gives me a perspective that other people may not have. I feel that if you're going to be a school board member, that you've got to be as much as possible vested in the community, and I've done that at every possible turn. As I mentioned, I've been a volunteer, and I think civic organizations here in the county are absolutely great, and it's more difficult for people to get back to that as they get more busy with their jobs. But in doing that, that is something that other people I don't think can bring to the table as much as I have. My qualifications for what I do outside of the school system, well, I'm an engineer, so I look at things very analytically, and it's not good, bad, or indifferent, it's just who I am. And so I think what made our school board very good these past 4 years is that we had diversity of opinion and thought, but we were all focused on the same thing, and that's bettering our school system. And so when you come at problems with different ideas, then that helps you solve that problem that much quicker. And also in my job, I deal with people. I'm a branch head, which means I've got 50 people under me, and I deal with issues they have every day, and conflict resolution, and for very, very smart people who often think that they're right. And so I know how to find a compromise, and that's very important when you're dealing not just with a group and the board, but when you have to deal with another entity like the commissioners or other parts of the government. You need to find some common ground. There's some cases where you've got to stick to your guns, but having that skill to deal with people, I think, is invaluable, and I bring that to the table.
Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
What steps would you take as a Board of Education member to work more closely with commissioners, planning and growth management, and Charles County Public Schools to relieve the pressures from financial shortfalls and school overcrowding?
Well, I think the first thing that we need to do is, and I've been a little disappointed and no finger pointing these past 4 years, but I don't think that we've met with the commissioners on an informal basis as much as we should have. It's one thing to have an annual, very sterile, proper meeting a couple times a year, but that really doesn't get down to the nuts and bolts and to the issues that have to be solved by elected officials. When we go through our staff and our staff goes through county staff to the commissioners and then back to us again, I mean, something gets lost in the translation there. And it's not something that has to occur in private. It can be public, but the cameras don't have to be on. We can just sit there and anyone's welcome to attend. But when people get together from the very beginning and everybody has a stake in the outcome, then everyone has a vested interest in the outcome. And I really think that is what's been lacking. Most county governments tend just to look at the bottom line, and they don't look at the quality of service and the quality that we give in the education system. When someone comes back and says it's too much, okay, I hear that, but why is it too much, and then what should it be? When we go in together, and particularly when it comes to building new schools and then operating new schools, because largely our budget is people, either in salaries and in benefits that we provide to them. So if we can focus that, we have a plan that we give to them every year. Perhaps we don't need 3 schools in 7 years. Maybe we can get 3 schools in 8 years. But unless we all get together in the beginning, come up with a more defined formula, which is something that we've been working on along with other people in the community for the past year to figure out exactly where and how much growth is going to take place. But doing that, again, I think in an informal basis is what needs to be done. You need to have clear, open, and honest dialogue. I can honestly say that as a board, we've tried to have more dialogue with the commissioners, but it just has not been to the level that we would like.
Thank you. Do you have any concerns about the fiscal year 2015 budget that has been prepared? And if you do, how do you plan to address them?
If our budget's funded, then I don't have any concerns for this year. I don't hold a lot of hope that the budget that we presented is going to be fully funded. So then you have to take a step back and say, well, what are you not going to do? I think the staff at Central Office has done a remarkable job these past few years when we've been in very tight fiscal circumstances. Other counties have had to lay off teachers or furlough teachers, and we haven't done that. The thing that we're really fighting now is the operating cost to open the new high school. And for some inexplicable reason, right now, the commissioners do not want to fund that money. So we're gonna have to look at what are we not going to do. We have money in there for a two-step increase for teachers, which gets them back on scale. There's money there for health insurance, for nurses' contract. So all those things that are outlined in the budget are gonna have to be looked at. Increased healthcare costs over the past few years have been another big issue, and also OPEB, which is other post-employment benefits. Primarily that's healthcare for retirees. We've not been funding that to the level that we've wanted to because, as I said, we've been keeping the lights on and giving quality teachers and quality instructional programs to the kids. But there's going to come a point in time where we have to fund that more, and that's not even being considered in this part of the budget. So if we fund the budget this year, I'm okay. When we don't, as I said, I don't think we'll be fully funded, and when we don't, we'll have to look at those areas that I mentioned and say, well, what are we not going to do? And that's going to be a very difficult decision. It's something that we have to do every year. The budget, as long as I've been on the board, and that's only been 4 years, but even prior to that, the requested budget is never fully funded. And so we're always playing catch up. We did make a nice investment this year in technology throughout the school system to have upgraded wireless in every school. And that's something that I know I and the rest of the board members are very proud of.
Thank you.
Thank you.
I'm going to do our wild card question.
Sure.
Pick one out of there.
Okay.
I'll read that to you.
Oh, you're going to read it?
I'll
Good.
read it to you.
Because then I don't have to put on my glasses.
Oh, this is an interesting one. Who was one of your favorite teachers and why?
Oh my gosh. This is a great question. One of my favorite teachers, I have two. Now, I'm assuming that's when I was in school. My favorite teacher, and I believe I may have mentioned her 4 years ago when I gave my speech being inducted into the board. Her name was Miss Pettit. Her name was Sally Pettit. And she was a 4th grade teacher where I went to school at Tyack Elementary School in Prince George's County. Still there, it's called Tyack Academy now. And she left an indelible impression upon me. As I said, I'm an engineer, I'm a science guy, nerdy guy, fine, I don't mind being called that, but she helped me appreciate how to write and how to do, the other side of the brain, arts and things like that. And she's someone that touched me, and I'll always remember her. Another teacher, her name is Mrs. Sear, and I happen to see her about every couple weeks because she plays bingo at the J.C. Hall. And when I work bingo, I see her and I constantly remind her that I had to endure all the stories about her son Philip and all his endeavors as a young runner. But she was a wonderful teacher, and to this day, even in retirement, she helps people in school that are having a little trouble. And I think it's a great question because everybody has that teacher that left a mark on them. And so when you talk about why is education important, why can't you just plug and play and do this? Teaching's an art. Okay, it's not a cookbook, and you have those teachers. My son has those teachers that really just light a spark in kids, and I think it's very important. And our teachers in our system, I have to just give a tip of the hat, and I've done this before, the teachers and the administrators. I've worked for the government for over 30 years now in the defense industry, and I go to a lot of big companies and I see how they operate and I see how people act and the professionalism. The professionalism here in Charles County Schools is second to none. They do an outstanding job, and it's one of the reasons that we have such a great school system, because the teachers and the staff here are passionate about what they do and they care about the kids.
I thank you very much.
Thank you very much.
Appreciate your time and good
It was a
luck in the
pleasure.
election.
Thank you so much.